So let's go over the basics of creating a Google Classroom when you might be in a remote learning situation. So I'm going to first go to classroom.google.com. I'm going to click the plus icon so I can create a class. And I actually like to create a class for each unit. This does several things. It allows me to be more creative with my topics because Google Classroom is designed to be organized on the Classwork page with topics. And then the more stuff you have in Google Classroom, the slower it loads. And as we all know, internet situations are a mix. So by doing it into units or 6-week grading periods, we can reduce how much scrolling there is and how much stuff has to load in Google Classroom so it'll load faster. So I'm going to do Unit 1, and I always put the school year on the second line and create. Now just for fun, I know we all want to be able to change the color. So let's go ahead and select a theme so I can choose the color. If you have multiple classes, I highly recommend that each class is a different color. So then once I am in here, you land on the stream. This is the first thing you see. This is teacher view. You can tell because it shows the class code and it says generate a meet link right up in here. And the stream is your social space. This is where I share things and I encourage students to share things as we're having class all day, this is where we can do it on the fly. Think about it like Facebook. It's not a class website. It's not something you organize. It's more organic that in the moment I want to share something, I just post on the stream. It's not an assignment. It's not something I'm grading, just sharing out a resource. If a student has a question, they can post it on the stream, and that's a place for classmates to see it and for us just to have that space together. Where do I ask a question? How do I get help? Just want to share what's going on in my day. I'll put a picture of my dog. And it's so important to make those connections with kids. But Google Classroom is all about the Classwork page. So you're going to click on Classwork. And this is where you're going to organize by topics. So you click on the Create button, and we're going to start planning our topics. Now, the older something is, the lower it should be, and that's how Google Classroom works. When you add something, it adds it to the top because that is how you do websites. Like no website in the world puts old information on top of new information, and why would you scroll past old things to get to what you're doing now? So like I recommended is I do a new Google Classroom every unit or every grading period, and that way I can have challenges, things that are in the news, optional activities, and things that are just going to live just for this time period. And the advantage to this also is at the end of the 6 weeks or at the end of the unit, I'm going to archive it. And that allows me to just shut that down and have a fresh start over in the new Google Classroom. So I'm going to create a topic and just Unit 1, Resources. Oh, you always want to have a topic that's about. So that's where you're going to put your syllabus, the link to the textbook, things like that. I'm going to create a topic, Unit 1, Videos. And then I'm going to create a topic, and I'm going to call it Today. What are we doing today? It's going to be in the Today topic on the Classwork page. I'm going to create another topic called Respond to Feedback. And I always want the Respond to Feedback topic to be the very first one. Because when I give students feedback, I don't want to waste my time. I want to make sure that they know they left them feedback. So then I drag the assignment, when I give feedback, I drag it up into the Respond to Feedback topic so that they know that's what they're supposed to do. And I tell them, like, this is the most important. I've given you feedback. You must respond to my feedback. In fact, I put that into my rubric. They don't get credit, and I don't release their score until they've responded to my feedback. That way I make sure that they learn from my feedback and I don't waste my time. And then I can drag it back. So then I've got this set up. These are the topics that I want to do. It's all about the Classwork page, and you're going to need to frequently remind students, good morning, go to the Classwork page. It is all about the classwork page. And it's organized over here where I have what do I want them to do today. And then I want to have another topic for each week. So I'm going to create a topic, week of 10-1. And then I'm just going to drag that topic right here below today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create, now look at what I can create in here. I can create an assignment. Do not use quiz assignment. Don't use it. It's awful. It's just a Google form, so just make a Google form. The problem is it makes a Google form for you, but it puts all this weird code on it that makes it so hard to reuse and to do some of the things that you want to do, and you have less control over your own form. Don't use quiz assignment. Ugh. Don't use quiz assignment. Instead, use just regular assignment and add a Google form. You can ask a question. You can add materials. Now, what's the difference? Materials are not graded. They don't have a due date. It's just something to give them information, like the link to the syllabus or the link to the textbook. And then make sure you are aware that you can reuse posts. So reuse post says, I'm going to take an assignment I already have, I'm going to bring it back. I can bring it back from an archived class, I can bring it back from another section, or I can reuse it from this current class. So if I'm doing, like I do this, I have a daily attendance question. Well, it's the same every day. It's like, I'm here in person, I'm here but tardy, I'm participating remotely, I am absent. I just have a multiple choice question for them to answer every day. It's the same. So I reuse that from the current class and I just do it again and make some minor edits. So you want to make sure that you know how to reuse post. I recommend that your first assignment, you go create and choose question. This is a really easy thing to do with students and it just gets them right into Google Classroom. It is considered an assignment and you can do it as short answer or multiple choice. So I'm going to do number 001, attendance for Monday, 10-1. And I'm going to switch it. Notice here it defaults to short answer. I'm going to switch it from short answer to multiple choice. So what are the particular options for your students? Are they remote? Are they in person? Are they remote, but they just can't participate today for whatever reason? Maybe they're off cycle. If you're doing an AB, every school is doing something different. So what kind of attendance question would make sense for you? I'm going to do, I am here in person, I am here but tardy, I am participating remotely, and I am absent. All right, now what else is on here? I make my multiple choice because I switched it to multiple choice. If you want, you can add or create. So if you want to add some resources, you can do that. You can assign to multiple classes. On the 4, you see this little drop down to assign to multiple classes. You can assign to only some students. I don't have any students in here yet, obviously. You can make it ungraded or you can make it worth points. I do my attendance one as you did it or you didn't. I make it a 1. Set your due date. Please, I beg you to always change the due time. I guess the first is a Thursday, and I am going to do 4 p.m. The default is midnight. I could rant on this all day. We shouldn't have things due at midnight. I'll save that for another time. Change the time. And my topic is today. What are we doing today? I don't need the students to see what the attendance is, so I can go ahead and turn off that students can see the class summary, and then I can either ask or click on the tiny drop-down triangle to schedule it or save it as a draft. I'm going to go ahead and ask, and you can see that the first thing is that students are going to go today and they are going to take attendance. I'm going to click up here on the settings cog for Google Classroom. When you come in here, you want to scroll down. You see here in the general, it has an invite link. You can copy that link, and if you can email the students, then you can go ahead and have them join your Google Classroom through the link, or click on this tiny triangle next to that the code is enabled. You can reset the code if you want, or the code's down here, and you can copy the code or display the code, and then they can just enter the code in when they want to join. They just changed how this works. And then down here it says, for the stream, students can post and comment. Leave that on. Of course they're going to put immature, goofy things. They're kids. That doesn't bother me when kids act like kids. I expect it. But how do I interact with students, especially in a remote situation? We don't use Google Classroom to throw all our paper stuff online, but rather to have those interactions and to build student engagement. And part of that is interacting socially. Also, how do I teach students to behave online if I don't let them behave online? Of course, they make inappropriate comments. I delete them. We have a conversation. Sometimes I'll call their mom. But it's really important that I have to teach them so they don't go out and post on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, things that are going to cause them to lose their scholarship when someone Googles them and looks at them like, what have they been posting online? It's essential we teach them how to behave. It starts here with Google Classroom. So students can post and comment. This drives me nuts. I hate show condensed notifications. So I click on the tiny triangle and I switch it to show attachments and details. What show attachments and details does, it puts it in front of their face. They can see the full assignment. But more importantly, I can tell if students have turned in work. So what I do at the end of the day, every day, sit down and I scroll the stream. I love this stream. It's how I can get into the heads of students. I want them to like put goofy things in there because then I see what kind of comments and conversations they're having that helps to influence my lesson planning. Like they're talking about what water bottle flipping, that's not the thing. What is the thing right now? Whatever the kids are really into, they're talking about. I'm like, okay, I'm going to make that my warm-up question. I'm going to incorporate that into my math question. Just to incorporate things that students are interested in. I have, if they're not next to me, I can't hear those things that they normally say to their friends, and it just gives me a chance to give a comment like, that's a cool picture of your dog. And again, the stream is not where we're organizing up the assignments. The stream is where we interact and ask questions. So when I turn on show attachments and details, I can tell if a student asked a question on an assignment. So I scroll, I can see in the stripe, which now shows the full thing, how many students submitted it, and it shows the class comments so I can reply if anyone has a question. Again, not my class website. It's not something I'm supposed to organize. It's supposed to be someplace we have conversations. So it's great for that. So please show attachments and details. This one, show deleted items. You don't need to do that unless you delete. A student posts something inappropriate and you delete it. You should do that. Do that first. Delete it. Okay. So then you go in, you turn that on when you need it for evidence because you're having a parent conference meeting. Even when you toggle that on, the only person that can see the deleted is you. And then if you want, you can have guardian summaries. What that is, that just sends an email to the parents either every day or every week. They choose what kind of summary they want. And it's just a snapshot of things that have a due date and some of the upcoming things. It does not allow them to see the student work, and it does not allow them to see the assignment descriptions. It's just basically a summary of what's coming up and what deadline they missed if it has a due date. And then here is where you can generate the Meet link. So if you turn that on, I recommend that what you do, see where it says visible to students, toggle that off. Let's go ahead and hit save. So what you'll see is now that I have enabled to turn the Meet link on, here's the Meet link. It is got a little eyeball on it so the students can't see it. So my thinking is it's a great way for students to know how to find where to join when we're having a video meeting. But I don't want them clicking on it or thinking they're supposed to be clicking on it if we're not having a meeting. So at the times that we have a meeting, I go into the settings. Let's take a look. I go into the settings. I hit the settings cog up at the top. I just come down. I toggle it on. So now it's visible. And I'm going to click save. And at the end of the meeting, I'm going to toggle it off so that they know that we're not meeting. Now, if you'll come down a little further, it says grading and grade calculation. Google Classroom has the worst gradebook on the market. Maybe there's one worse than this, and oh my gosh, that would be awful. I could rant all day about this. It will not calculate the grades the way you expect them to. And you shouldn't let Google determine how you're grading. You should do that yourself. So please, I beg you, leave the overall grade off. Don't show the overall grade to students. And actually, I use grade categories not for grade categories, but rather assignment types. So check in, independent, class meeting, discussion, collaborate, check for understanding, assignment, project, exit ticket. So what kinds of assignments, what types of assignments do you do? I put those into the grade categories and then I click save. And I need students to join the class, so I can do that here in the heading on the stream. I can click to display the code, or I can copy the invite link, and it's going to copy that to my clipboard where I can share it with students so they can click on it and join the class.